We're in New Mexico, and the reason we're here is it is a very mining-intensive state. The second most important mining industry in the state of New Mexico, next to the coal industry, is the potash industry.
Potash is an essential mineral for all food supplies in the world, and New Mexico is lucky enough to be very well endowed with the best potash deposits in the United States. Potash is one of the 3 essential food nutrients. There are 2 types of potash that are used. The most common type, which dominates world production, is muriate of potash, essentially potassium chloride, a salt. The other form of potash is sulfate of potash. It is used mainly for specific growth of plants, for instance, citrus trees or tobacco. I see potash has plans to become the world's lowest cost producer of sulfate of potash. Question is, how can they possibly do that? Well, number one, they're mining polyhalite, which has never been mined for sulfate of potash before. And they're using a new technology which has never been done on a commercial scale before. Now that's in pilot plant testing, but the technology was proven by the Bureau of Mines many, many years ago. So yes, they do have a chance of becoming the world's lowest cost producer. The biggest consumers of sulfate of potash are China, India, and the United States. Well, this makes sense because those are the 3 largest populations in the world. But also the reason that they consume so much sulfate of potash is all 3 of these countries have very salty soils. So sulfate of potash, not being a salt, has very broad applications in these 3 countries. If you've ever listened to me or watched me before, you know I'm a supply-demand fundamentalist. Potash is going to continue to rise in price. What we're seeing here is continued demand, and that makes sense because the world's population is growing and there's a growing middle class, specifically in the big countries, but demand is exceeding supplies. So I think prices will remain boisterous for not only the short term, but even into the long term. It's very important, I think, for the United States to develop more of its own domestic potash resources. We are presently dependent for more than 80% of our potash, an essential mineral product, on a yearly basis from foreign governments. But also a specific amount comes from countries that I do not consider friendly to the West. That would include Russia and Belarus. And I don't think it's good policy for the United States to be dependent on unfriendly foreign governments for an essential mineral such as potash. New Mexico, having the United States' best potash deposits, is the logical place to develop more potash mines. I evaluate exploration companies for speculation based on 3 key criteria: share structure, people, and projects. I met the principals of IC Potash. I was very impressed. Sid Himmel and Randy Foote are professionals. I looked at the share structure. It's reasonable for a big project like this. And I looked closely at the project, and I became convinced that this project has very good merit. There are very rich and sufficiently thick beds in southeast New Mexico that, to me, this looks like a go at this point.